Hi, everyone. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. 1, it's free. 2, there are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. 3, Anchor will distribute your podcast so that everyone can hear it, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. It is everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So go ahead, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
What's up, world? Isiah here from Making It Make Sense with Isiah, Jasper, and Theo. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify with new episodes every Friday. We also want to hear from you between episodes, so follow our Instagram at Making It Make Sense IJT or email us at makingitmakesensewithijt@gmail.com. Now listen up and let's make all the sense. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to Making It Make Sense with Isiah, Jasper, and Theo. This is our new podcast together, and we're just going to be talking about everything. So, hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, hi Isiah, Theo here.
Hey.
Hi, this is the King of Shade, Jasper here.
I'm so excited, guys, to be just amongst other great minds. This is awesome.
It's a relief.
It's a relief. I feel a sense of relief. What about you guys?
I feel great. I feel it's something that you mentioned in our interview with Lady Boss that I really like, by the way. You said safe. I feel safe sharing, and I feel safe, comfortable, empowered with you and Jasper here. So
absolutely.
Hey, Negroes.
Come on, empowered. I like that word, empowered. I'm excited. I feel good. I feel like I can be myself. I feel free. I feel open in this space.
Me too. And it's honestly I think just it's kind of like it feels like a little fruits of our labor, or rather fruits of our tumultuous experience, rather. I think that's how we kind of, obviously not even kind of, literally that's how we came together. It's kind of how we came to be face with one another. And, feels super great. I feel super grateful.
Here, Jasper's.
So I do think we should just kind of talk about how we came together, and just the beginning of this journey. I think Theo, actually, you wrote wrote with the three of us speaking together, and we were talking about, you had said just you're excited for this journey, and I'm excited for this journey, but in order to continue to the next step of the journey, we got to talk about how we got here. So
I just to let the audience know who we are. I am Theo Fox. I am a lover. No,
come on, lover.
I am Theo Fox. And I am, excited to do this, and I'm on this great journey with Isiah and Jasper. And if you guys want to introduce yourselves independently,
Yeah, sure. Jasper, after you.
Ladies first.
Dad.
Hi. You know what? I am a lady, yes, a queen. But hi, this is.
He said, "Talk to me nice. I'm a lady."
Hi, y'all. Yes. But yes, I am. What am I supposed to be saying again? I forgot what I'm supposed to be saying.
I can't edit this out. We're supposed to.
So what are we supposed to be saying?
Introduce yourself.
you like introduce yourself and tell it like
well, this is real because I forgot what we were supposed to say.
Your name is not just Jasper, by the way.
Your name? Hi, I'm Jasper.
And your name and your last name. Let people know who you are. And that bitch just hung up.
Oh no! He'll re-click the link.
So we're experiencing some technical
difficulties, but I guess while Jasper is we're getting him reconnected, I'll kind of introduce myself in that case right now. But so my name is Isiah Crumpton Culhane. That's hyphen Culhane. So I'm from upstate New York actually, and you know I've been married for 2 years, and I've been in my relationship overall for 8 years, and just to kind of speak on hey Jasper, to speak on how you know I came to this space a little bit, you know, over the course of the pandemic, I really was seeking out, and not as a knock to my existing friendships, but at all, but I was seeking out brotherhood, but queer brotherhood, in the Black community rather, and I think I didn't realize how much I felt like that was lacking in my life, until I came to the space and I really kind of went, wait a minute, this has been missing, and so that's kind of a little bit of my journey in that sense. But now that Jasper is back, I want us to hear about you.
So where did I leave off?
Oh right, so we were like, tell your whole government.
Your whole government, honey.
So your name, your first name, your last name, where you from?
Mm-hmm. Well, my name is Jasper, last name Brown. I'm a Black man that lives in Arkansas. I'm from the South. I live in the South. I'm 29. I'm single. I live long walks on the beach. I like to have a conversation.
I love long walks on the beach.
Noted. Are there any beaches in Arkansas, by the way?
No. That's a fantasy of mine. I like long walks on the beach. So yes, that's my fantasy. That's my dream in my head. So, I'm a blogger. I've been blogging for the last 2 years. You really into the process of really get into it deeply. Yeah, I joined this. I'm now here.
I think the audience would like to know how that we 3 independent thinkers got together.
Yes.
And I think it's good to let the audience know that we were part of a platform called Bro Chat, where the creator auditioned all 3 of us. And the audition process was chaotic. It was disorganized. But again, like Isiah mentioned, we were looking for that brotherhood, especially with Black queer people or people of that experience, or even allies.
Yeah.
And we thought we found that with the creator, but the creator had other ulterior motives that were not brotherhood-like or uplifting to the image of queerness. Isiah?
You know, to add to that, it really had a lot to do with alignment, right? So, and I don't know, I might have kind of briefly touched on it, just in like personal phone calls between the 3 of us and stuff like that. But, you know, and it's kind of a little bit in alignment with what Jasper was saying just now when we were chatting with Lady Boss, is I kind of went a little bit against my gut and against my better judgment, because in one of the pieces of content from that space that I had seen, they did a video where they discussed Black Lives Matter. And, you know, one of the promises I made to myself, you know, this past year was that I'm not having convincing conversations anymore. And not only that, I'm not sharing space with people that are not already there. If you haven't already arrived in this space or this place of this headspace rather, or being awakened or whatever, if you just woke up, you know, at 5 o'clock today and went, okay, oh, now I get it. It's very hard for me to align with that. So I'm going to put that right on the shelf there for a second. But I went against my gut a little bit because after watching that, I already kind of had an idea of, okay, I think the creator is this type of person. This is their alignment, you know, politically and otherwise. And I still went, okay, you know what, though? You know, as Jasper said, let me get to person for who they're presenting themselves to me as.
Yep.
Right. And that's where I made a space that otherwise I had shut down. So I made a space for that person, and then, you know, and
it backfired.
And it backfired, honestly. You know, it backfired because, you know, we ended up discussing a lot of things that were not in alignment with where my spirit is and where my soul is. And you know, while it's okay to have a conversation about topics, you know, that you might not agree on, right? There were definitely topics that were intentionally placed to pit us against one another. And in that vein, I'm gonna pass the baton over a little bit and let you guys kind of talk about that too.
Jasper?
It was definitely, this process was definitely uh, uh, put together. It was a very manipulative process from the beginning. It was very strategically planned and created by Aubrey Starr, who created the show. And so, you know, she's one messy queen, honey. And it was a mess of a process because, you know, she put us against each other without us even really knowing at the time that we were being put against each other. She carefully crafted who she wanted, the characters that she wanted on the show. She carefully crafted her plan to get people who, in her mind, resemble even an ounce of the characters that she wanted on this particular show. And so we were all, we were all, we were all, fooled by the presentation that Aubrey gave to us. She made it sound so bubbly and like it's gonna be a wonderful experience. It's gonna be all about brotherhood and positivity and us coming together and building relationships with each other. But that was not the case at all. It was completely different than what
And again, I think what we're speaking to is our experience.
Right.
So an opinion or a perspective is irrelevant when speaking about our experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm speaking on, Jasper is speaking on, and Isiah is speaking on something that happened, that occurred, that was told to us, that was said. And the only person that can speak on that is ourselves and the individual who partook in that experience. Our experience was what it is that we are discussing. So to say that, I have something to say about your experience, to me, is ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to my experience, you should be asking me questions. So it could be a bit more, so it could be a bit more clarified for you.
Mm-hmm.
I, like Jasper and like Isiah, I was presented with a person that told me this is about unifying and uplifting and providing an image that isn't out there. But because this person was very secretive and filled with self-doubt, immature, and lack leadership skills, that was not the true vision. This person was very secretive on purpose because they had an ulterior motive. And I was trying to give this person the benefit of the doubt. Again, I don't allow people to occupy the space that this individual took and I shut myself down from doing that and thinking maybe, you know, open up a little bit, Theo. Don't be too stubborn. Don't be ignorant. Don't be too bougie. You know, not everyone can be at that level. And, you know, that little voice, I think, was the devil, which I think is white. Joking. But that voice, I don't know what that was, is not true. You know, because he was presenting himself to be one person, but I discovered Jasper and Isiah and another person involved in this called RJ, who were truly presenting themselves as they were.
Yeah.
So that platform was a blessing, and that blessing helped me connect with Isiah and Jasper, who are two people that present themselves who they are, and I accept them for that. And I'm grateful for the both of them, and I'm honored to be in their presence in doing this podcast with them.
Thank you, Theo.
Jasper, you're not going to say thank you?
Jasper's like, that's cute.
That nigga ain't got no manners.
It's cute. That's all. But thank you, Theo. Thank you. There was a nice thing to say. That was very beautiful. Very well said.
It was.
I just said it for my image, guys.
I'm dead.
I want an image of Christianity and of love, conservatism, and, you know, Bible thumping and forgiveness and victimhood. Sounds like someone we know.
Sounds very familiar. Oh my God. It's just kind of crazy how it, like, I don't know, like, so we did, what did we do? We did like a month of chemistry tests, basically. How did we each stumble upon it? Like, kind of, you guys, if you want to go first, and then I'll, you know, share kind of how I you know, found.
Mine was simple.
Yeah.
For some reason, this person requested me.
Okay.
And to be honest, what
like
we're saying,
you out.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And we're saying this person because we don't want to say their name.
Right.
But and if you're listening, I think you're aware that we were part of the platform, and we're only going to say this time and this time only, Bro Chat Room. We were part of that platform, and when we're saying this person or that entity, or when we say Aubrey Starr, we're referring to that individual.
Right.
So this person or Michelle. Because yes, we are petty, and yes, we can be catty, all within reason.
Wow. Right. We're again, all of it is us. No one is one thing.
Yeah. No one's one thing.
Right. We react differently to different circumstances depending on what it pertains to.
Yep. So this individual reached out, requested me as a friend, and then I happened to see this individual's video with him and RJ and one of the Housewives' husband, who popped up on screen, and there was this big blowout, and I was like, "Oh, shut up! What the fuck is happening here?" Because I'm not a part of this social media world, so even navigating Instagram is still every day something new for me. So I discovered this, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And then like 3 days later or 4 days later, I saw him put up a thing saying, "Hey, I'm looking for new bros." And I didn't know at the time that Bro Chat existed because I did not like that page or subscribe to that page. So when he said that, the link to the page came up, and then I saw why he was looking for new bros, because I saw the Black Lives Matter video. I was like, oh, so he put us through the audition process. We did the chemistry test for a month, and then one thing led to another, and I saw, I think eventually me, Jasper, and Isiah were on screen together, and that's the most comfortable I felt. That's the most in sync I felt. And with Jasper, Isiah, and another individual who I still speak with, Bryce. You guys remember Bryce?
Yes. I never got
right.
to film with him or record with him, but he seemed really nice. He was super nice once we got, well, I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but like he sent me a really nice message actually. Like once we were all like named as, panelists.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was
So
really,
sweet.
really, he's always been super gracious and super sweet and supportive. So,
Aw.
And I liked the energy that we had.
mm-hmm.
And I think this individual saw that, and instead of saying, "Wow, look at these genuine people,"
Mm-hmm.
he became a narcissist, a tyrant, a manipulator, and he wanted to divide that. He didn't want to grow that. He wanted to see how can I get likes and views from that.
Right.
And I am a very honest, genuine, transparent person. And I understand that I'm not a cup of tea, the cup of tea for everyone. Like, you take me as I am.
Right.
You
Things
strong.
with
Very strong and black.
Theo is yeah, I'm black tea.
That's right.
Theo is the kind of person you either like Theo or you don't Theo. There's no in between with me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like gray areas. People like to play in the gray.
Yes. Okay.
And I presented that way to you guys and to this individual,
mm-hmm.
and that was a problem. This individual is, I believe, is a predator.
Mm-hmm.
And he preys on people's consciousness and people's positivity just so that he can manipulate that, ruin it, and move on.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided that I no longer wanted to be a part of this manipulation process, and that you cannot change someone from the other side. Someone from the other side has to want to change and come over to the right side.
Exactly.
And that was my experience. And we're speaking about it not to bash this individual or to band together to bully them.
mm-hmm.
This is a cautionary tale.
Yes.
We're still trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
And how we can be better and do better, because we participated on a platform that had the illusion of positivity and the illusion of brotherhood.
Right.
And I am not about illusions. I'm not an illusionist. I'm not a magician. I am not Houdini. And I genuinely want to participate in empowerment of Blackness, of queerness, and uplifting. Yeah, and of course, I'm going to have disagreements and dislikes with Isiah and Jasper, but I think it's going to be done with empathy and respect being at the forefront.
Exactly. And not like coming, I think that was the thing too, is like, not coming from a place of just being salacious, just for social media's sake.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. I think one of the things, that I, like, for me, like, it was definitely problematic that we were only discussing things ripped from the headlines. Like, but the thing is, like, to tack on what you said, like, it's not about like bashing like at all. It's really telling our truth and our experience and not having it spun into some kind of narrative that was not our experience, actually. You know what I mean? And for us to just kind of give light to it, because it is a part of our fabric. It's a part of our story and how we came together. And, and I did feel like, okay, this makes sense when we were all together, and like filming. And, I think it was also intended for us to not actually connect, outside of this individual, outside of this person. And we did, because again, we're grown men and, we're going to go, hey, we should connect. We should actually get to know each other, if we're going to be, if we're going to be taking this journey together or this experience together. And happened upon that platform was, so I got into Real Housewives of Potomac. And
poor thing.
No, I like the show, and and I love Karen Huger, and and I just think she's great. She's a great personality, and so my husband and I got into the show, and I think like maybe like a couple of other friends. my girl Deidre, I love you. And so we would like chat about it and stuff. And I think I went on Instagram and I don't know if it came up in my like suggested follows or something like that, but I saw like a Karen Huger fan page that was also run by this person. Turns out, and I think I followed the page, and I would like different posts and whatever, and thought the graphics were kind of cool and all that stuff. And then I think the person that ran the page, I don't know if who followed who first or something like that, but so we ended up following each other, and then I saw the platform and I went, oh, looking for new panelists, like, oh, okay, this sounds cool. Like, this sounds like a great way to create some good relationships and and get to know new people, and all right, let's give this a shot. So I reached out, and we got on a phone call, and
One of those private phone calls.
oh yeah, the very first one, super charismatic and friendly seeming, and then just from there, and then we went into chemistry tests for like a month and a half or so, which was a little chaotic because we'd have to just all hop in and, okay, let's all with people that you don't know and stuff, which is all the lore of that, because you're like, oh cool, meeting new people, but at the same time you're like, oh god, like this is new. And so and then we found out we were all chosen, like individually, like none of us, like, right, like we didn't know with it between each other, we didn't know that the other person was being chosen, right, and all that stuff.
No, Jasper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, that was a mouthful.
My journey is a little bit different, but kind of similar because I was following RJ, who was a part of the original lineup, because this faction had actually had a first lineup of people on the show, and so I watched it. I was watching the show, watching some episodes, and was a fan of the show, of that particular show people. And like I said, I was following RJ. And I saw his post of the show. He's posting the show and posting clips of the show, and I was like, "Oh, it sounds cool. It looks cool." And so I watched the clip that went ultimately be the end of that faction, which was a BLM clip, and it was a blow up or
Action.
whatever. And so when that little happened, which I now I'm looking back, it was calculated because if he posted that he was looking for a co-host, a new co-host, a week before it blew up. So
Oh, really?
yeah, so that's calculation of this
I
person.
didn't know that, actually.
Yes, and so
Wow.
that's how it is. So me seeing it, it's the post put up about him one of the new calls, which made me say, okay, it was opportunity to join the show. And the
Mhm.
Lord happened. Then we do the casting call or chemistry test, and went through the process with Theo and Isaiah, and I met both of them during that process. Um, I messaged him. He was seemed nice, seemed charismatic. And he called me all the time. When I tell you, I knew that my persona is what he wanted on the show, because he called me constantly. He was calling me
Mhm.
doing the chemistry test. Not even on the show yet. I hadn't even been chosen. On the chemistry test, he called me almost every day. We had conversations every day about everybody on the chemistry test. Which is weird because I'm auditioning as well. So what
Oh, wow.
director or what casting agent will call someone that is an auditioner every day to talk about each person that they're auditioning on the show besides yourself?
Wow.
So it was which was really weird to me. And I
That
said,
part, like you
maybe
like to say that part.
Yeah,
that part,
yeah.
and maybe, I'm like, and I was like, well, maybe, that may be his way of doing things. So I didn't read too much into that.
Mhm.
And so then, we got down to the finals, and he chose everyone, but in a weird way, he gave us all calls, gave me a call, and it's like a regular call, but then in within a conversation, he gave it was actually a video call conversation that we had. He said, "You, congratulations, you are part of broadcast," and made a whole moment out of it for himself for the show. But I was genuinely excited. I'm like, maybe I'm excited, like, ooh, this is something new. I made it. I've been chosen. It's gonna be fun.
Mhm.
And I didn't know who I was gonna work with, but in my mind, I already knew that Isaiah and Theo had it in the bag. I knew that in my mind. So, but not knowing it, when I found out they were chosen, I was even more excited. Like, okay, I got some level-headed people on this panel with me. So, so if I tend to go, if I tend to go left, they can pull me back right. You know, so I was good with company, and I was excited about the journey. And
Right.
then RJ being a part of the cast, me not knowing if he's actually going to make to be on the show because this person kept us in the dark about that situation. It was like, you have to wait and see. So I'm excited to work with him because that's was my whole thing was I wanted to work with RJ. So I was excited to get the chance to work with him. But at the time, didn't know he was going to be a part of the show. But then he was brought on our first taping of the Meet the Bros, which y'all saw. And there was my reaction was my reaction because did not know he was going to be even part of the equation
Mhm.
until that moment none of us did, or who I was working with.
It was
So
a secret.
it was secret, yes, a secret.
Let me tell you guys a little secret.
Like it was like to him, it's like a game. It was a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A game within a game.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
A riddle
There's
within a
levels to
riddle.
this shit. Okay. There's levels
Yeah,
to this
He
shit.
was a fucking Riddler. Like,
Yeah.
that was
and
my
I hate
journey.
that
How I
character.
got here.
Yeah.
That was my journey on how I got here, you guys.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. It was a platform that was saturated in riddle, in dysfunction, and it was saturated also in uh, the burden of a grudge
Mm-hmm.
against another individual.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not what we wanted to be a part of. That's why we are here now. We're a part of making it make sense with Isiah, Jasper, and Theo, which is a platform where we want now to grow and make sense of whatever it is that we have going on. Like now we're trying to make sense of this B room situation, and
Mm-hmm.
today will be the only time and the only episode that we would dedicate time to this situation. If you if you guys have any questions, if the listening audience has any questions, they can feel free to reach out to us, and we might answer it on air. We will answer it, but we could answer it individually on the podcast. But we're gonna leave that mess behind.
Yeah.
Because after I get rid of my garbage, I don't think about its journey on the garbage truck or in the landfill or when they're burning it. I just discard garbage.
And watch it turn into dust.
Yeah, and
That's what it is.
don't even worry about it because it's garbage and it's unfortunate. I wanted to give this individual an opportunity to see what brotherhood looks like, because I had the luxury of growing up in a brotherhood,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to show this individual what honesty and genuineness and transparency looks like. And that individual, I don't think that he will be this way forever. Hopefully, he isn't this way forever. I don't think this is the moment in time he's ready for that.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
I
agree.
definitely think he's ready to change because he doesn't see that he's done anything wrong, and that was a lot of a part of the issues that even talking with this individual, we would have a conversation with him expressing our concerns, and it was dismissed, the dismissiveness
Mm-hmm.
of it all. Like we give our feelings, and you just dismiss them as if you don't
Empty.
care, they don't matter. Like,
Yeah.
but your show is, but the basis of the show and the ground that the show is supposed to stand on it's your perspective matters, but they don't matter because if they matter, why would you dismiss them? So it was very contradictory to what he presented to the world, what he presented to the world and presented to us. It was
Absolutely.
very, very, very hypocritical.
I agree. It was, and it was really, this is an opportunity also for us to really show our layers beyond the archetypes that we were placed into in that space, right? And it's an opportunity for us to just show that we are each so many things, and that we each have so many different experiences that, you know, that have to do with, if anyone, was already watching the previous platform we were a part of, um, this is also an opportunity for us to talk about, maybe why you saw us on there react to certain things certain ways. and
Oh,
where
man,
those
that's
things
good.
came from, right? Like, if you saw us react to something very strongly, then now you can kind of go, oh, okay, well, that's who that person is. And that's why they reacted that way, because now you're going to get to know us a lot better, honestly, because we're going to get to talk or speak candidly about things that are important to us and things that, you know, that have happened to us and that we've gone through, and what, you know, things that maybe even made us who we are now.
And also, we are not being presented to you with a filter or through the lens of the editor.
Yes.
We're being presented to you through our own lens, through our own voice, through us. Me, Isiah, and Jasper are the creators of this. We are the editors of this. We are the controllers of this. So you might be seeing us in a way you never thought possible.
Yeah. Agreed.
I agree.
Yeah.
So I think we're making sense of this debauchery.
Debauchery
Yeah,
is the right.
it was a lot. This you know, and even you know the when I saw we you know what for you was like the final like nail in the coffin to say you know what I have to completely walk away.
That's a good question.
For you, for what was it for? What was it for you, Isiah?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I mean, and I said this when we were chatting with Lady Boss, like, eh, there were a couple, and maybe I didn't go into it like totally. There were some red flags like leading up to it already, you know, like there were little things like, you know, there were a couple of conversations, or, you know, there were some little dishonesties that, like, obviously, like, you know, like Theo, like you were saying, you know, there's gonna be little fakeries, little liberties, I guess, for the sake of, you know, the way you have to cut or edit something or whatever. Or, okay, let me get myself together for this because I'm on video or whatever. Like those little mild things, but little white lies, so to speak. But even like, and this was really like Jasper's experience, so I don't want to take away from you explaining this, but one of the little red flags was, we're filming or recording this one thing. I think it was actually the last time before it was just like done. And there was not transparency and honesty about why Jasper wasn't there. And it was like, wait a minute, which really we didn't know till after, but like, that's weird that like there wasn't honesty. It was like, oh, he's taking a day off.
And
like,
the
actually,
person will try to tell you. Sorry,
you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
A manipulative person will tell you, that's what he presented himself to be. Oh, I was protecting Jasper's privacy.
But at the same time, did you ask, right? And to that point, did you ask Jasper did you ask him what he wanted to be said in reference to, because he was a part of that conversation that transpired between the two of them. It's like the creator wasn't the only person on that phone call.
That's how
Jasper was on it too. So Jasper should have had more control of his own narrative and what his experience with that person. It shouldn't have just been like, oh, this person decided to take it, or oh, Jasper just took a night off. No, he didn't, because we come to find out that's not, you know what I mean? That wasn't the case. So that was a little, not even a little, that was a red flag for me. But that was like a post red flag, really. But on the way to get there were just a couple of instances where I just felt like, okay, this isn't like, we're not keeping it 100 right now. About, you know, there was a conversation with the full group of us in reference to time frame, you know, and like the same way that we could call each other out or call each other up even individually and have conversations directly with one another, this particular individual would kind of start tugging at strings and going, okay, well, I don't want to have this conversation with this person, so you have this conversation for me. And that's another thing that he did to like poor Jasper, because he would like throw Jasper in stuff that like, oh, well, I'm going to put him up to have this conversation because Jasper is very direct and very honest and very forward about things. Right. But he kind of tried to like weaponize him to do things, to like speak on his behalf because he didn't have the gall to say it himself. Right. So on that phone call, that's what ended up happening. And to which point I just kind of went, all right, like, I don't, because another thing is, you know, if you got to be giving us all these requirements for different things, run me my check then.
Hello.
Right. And, you know, so that's at that point, I just kind of went, okay, well, I don't have to do this. Like, I'm taking, just like, you know, we're all taking time out and stuff like that. But like, you know, in another call that you guys didn't know until we spoke, I straight up told this person, these are the times I am available. Obviously, we want to work in conjunction with each other and figure out what time works best for, you know, for everybody. But at that point, I was like, okay, well, you know, this person obviously has to operate, this individual, on this kind of schedule because of, you know, their trajectory currently, right? However, I said, well, that doesn't really work out for me time frame wise or whatever. And I was very honest about that. They asked me, I told them. The thing is, we weren't always crossing, the four of us, in comparing or telling each other, oh, well, actually, this person said this to me, or this person said this to me. We weren't always discussing it with each other. So there were things that would get crossed, like, oh, I didn't know you had that conversation with that person. I didn't know that you said that to them, or, oh, they said this to you. To which point we got to actually have those conversations after the disintegration of.
Yeah, because we had this individual being divisive and keeping the group separated.
100%.
All information had to be filtered through him.
Mm-hmm.
He, as a leader, he didn't redirect. Hey, how about you speak with the group?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, how about you let the group know that, not just me? He will keep information, and when you keep information and you don't share with the collective, you're trying to show that you have power.
Mm-hmm. Power broker.
Yeah, and that's what this individual was trying to do. And you know what was the last straw for me? When I sensed an air of anti-blackness from him.
That.
When I sense an air of anti-LGBT from him, because just because you are LGBT, it does not mean that you believe in the equity of LGBT.
I know that's right.
And I got that from him, and we know that from people who are LGBT on the opposite side, and they're for LGBT people not being teachers, being discriminated at work. And I got that energy from him in our group chats when he demeaned one of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, this is not what I got on here for.
Mm-hmm.
And then with speaking to other individuals, that he told them that they should not express their sexuality and the way that they should. Gender expression is important for everybody. And he tried to suppress that from another individual. That was the final straw for me. This individual is not who he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
His actions and his words were not in alignment, and they continuously were not. And you cannot force someone to be in alignment. Alignment is a normal, natural process.
Absolutely.
And you cannot force it. So that was the final straw for me. Not on my watch where I allow someone to degrade another Black person, not even within the Black community.
And just to add to that, sorry, and then just to add to that really quick.
How dare you interrupt me?
No, sorry, just because I had a thought about that was part of my that was a little part of my like I'm good, when, you know, I just saw like there was one instance in the message where this person basically took someone being called out of their name, and not even just out of their name, like a full racial slur. And
no, call a thing a thing.
like like
another individual expressed that they were called a nigger.
Yes. I wasn't sure, like, if you guys I wanted to kind of
It's unfiltered. We saying everything.
You're right. You're right. So he called he was called a nigger, and the wild thing about it is for me to hear another black man completely snatch that, because you're snatching that person's experience, taking it and just throwing it in the trash and going, it doesn't matter.
That was your fault.
Right. Like that was your fault, or
you asked for it.
Yes, that part. It was very like it was the most dismissive thing, and I just went, you know what? And when I listened to that, I went, you know what? I am good. Like, don't call me. I'm the type, and you guys have heard me say this multiple times. We don't need no conversation. Bye. I'm paying you dust. Don't call me. Don't text me. We don't need a closure conversation. I do not need an exit interview. Bye. Stay away from me. Give me 50. I don't want an apology. If you even wanted to give me an apology, I don't want an apology. You know what my apology is, or my version of an apology is from you? Give me 50 feet and changed behavior all the way over there. Stay away from me. And that's how I felt. I don't want to, I don't need any kind of exchange with you, because all it's going to do is it's going to piss me off, and it's going to end up in a blow up for you. So I just didn't, I just said it over there, and I went, I'm good. But that was my, I had to say that was a huge trigger for me.
And what was it for you, Jasper?
Yeah, Jasper.
Well, for me, it was for me, it was 3 different situations for me.
Mm-hmm.
The first one was me and RJ's when we had our moments of not being in agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Him using that moment to as fuel for him, as I have someone in my corner, someone is on my side. Um, uh, Using that situation instead of trying to make it better, he didn't. He made it worse, because as a leader, you're supposed to try to resolve conflict in your groups. When you have a group together like this, you're supposed to try to figure out a way to make things positive.
Mm-hmm.
And instead he kept inserting himself in it instead of staying out of it, and allowing me and Archie to organically come to an agreement and have a conversation. He didn't allow the moment to happen. And so for a while, it was always this contention between me and him, because he kept inserting himself.
Like a nosy little girl.
Yes.
Who ain't got no manners.
No manner.
And so, but thankfully, me and RJ, we are in a good space. We had that moment, courtesy of him, because without him even knowing, this dissension brought me and RJ together. So he actually assisted slightly.
Yeah. I thought that was so, just to comment on that too, can I tell you, that really, not to get too sentimental, but that really warmed my heart to see you guys move past all of that into such a good place. It really made me feel so good, because I was like, that's what I think people forget is you can have a moment with someone, and or you can have a little fallout. Now sometimes it's all the way, in friendship, some friendships, if you've been friends for years and you have a fallout, it's okay, we can't move past this, we just need to move on, right? But I think in moments like that, it's a lesson to people, where it's hey, we can have a not great situation, and we can hash it out, or we can talk, or we can realize that, hey, okay, this situation, something bigger is going on, and we can come together.
Ooh. And they had,
and they really did.
And Jasper and RJ had a moment.
Yeah, they did.
Oh no, you weren't present for that. It was oof.
Oh yeah, no. Well, I because I think I had.
You probably would have cried if you heard it and you saw how they themselves organically came together in solidarity and rectified their issue. It was tear worthy. And it was beautiful to see, because that's what brothers do. Brothers can sit there and curse each other the fuck out. But then when it comes to defending the brotherhood, to defending and uplifting each other, you see how quick whatever we were arguing about becomes insignificant.
Yeah.
And to see Isaiah, Jasper and RJ come back around, because in solidarity, because they are gatekeepers, and to protect each other and to protect the brotherhood. Be like, no, 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 not today. That was beautiful. And that also showed that Jasper is mature, and Jasper is a good person, and Jasper is a person that's willing to grow.
Absolutely.
And that just showed how beautiful you really are, Jasper.
As a human being, 100%. And I think like a lot of, that's the thing, is like, it would just be paint, like, that's the thing, is the editing, it would just be like, oh, okay, well, you know, he's just stirring the pot, like the way he would just, this person would make him look like innocence. But then I can speak to this, and and I know, Theo, you can too, like, personally, even if we had like a where we didn't agree, like, while we were filming or something like that, Jasper has called me or reached out to me, like, and been like, let's get on a phone call and talk. Like, he's not like it. I think it looked like on there, like, oh, he's just coming for everybody's throats. Like, no, that's not. That's King of Shade. Yeah, King of Shade will read you for filth, but Jasper will call you right after. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I think that was like, it was like this perception that is not actually true. It's not actually who
like
it is.
There's issues. And mind you, there isn't a version of the video that he put out when me and Jasper had our misunderstanding. And I wanted to be on record. Jasper was the initiator of reaching out. Yeah. Am I right or wrong, Jasper?
You're right.
Take credit. And Jasper, and there's a version when me and Jasper wrapped it up right on that segment. And we apologized to one another, and he did not put that out there.
Yes, and he did that more than once, because it was something I caught, and you know what I'm talking about, Jasper. I caught something differently than he actually meant it. And I reacted without going, wait a second. He wasn't even talking to me. He was talking to another person that was filming. But he didn't leave in that literally, as we transitioned right into the next episode, when we stopped filming or recording, we literally like wrapped it up right there too. Like, it was just like, I was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry. I think he said, sorry if you caught it. I was like, I'm sorry. I reacted, you know, I leaped before I looked, you know, like, or whatever. Like,
he did cut it out, you know. Yeah. But you know, that's part of his game. But you know, the other two things that made me say, okay, I'm done, was it was another situation, but it was not bro chat related. It was outside of bro chat. It was something that I did outside of bro chat that shouldn't have even been on his radar. But it was brought to his attention, and he decided to go on my behalf to speak to someone on my behalf without my acknowledgement, my awareness of it, me even sending him, giving permission to speak on my behalf, and made the situation worse. And me and this other person had blow up, had semi blow up, and it was like a back and forth thing. Because he kept inserting himself, he kept going back to the person and saying things that I didn't say to the person, I didn't tell him to say to the person. So he would not remove himself, even after I and Theo, actually Theo told him to remove himself, he still wouldn't remove himself. So he was like, he purposely kept the one to keep the conflict going.
And that's not a mistake. None of that was a mistake. All of that was intentional. All that wasn't ignorant. All that was purposeful, because him and I had a 35-minute or longer conversation where I told him, you do not have the right to intervene on anything that Jasper does. Yeah. If Jasper was using the B room chat, the B room platform to spew whatever, you are within your right to tell him absolutely not. And he purposely once again, he placated me and thanked me for my advice. And where would I be without your advice? And thank you for your advice and all this nonsense. And still went and reached out to the individual and was, being Jasper's spokesperson without Jasper's consent.
Right. When
Exactly.
Jasper didn't even ask him to do that.
And
He
Jasper
was
told him no. And he still went and did what he wanted to do because that is what manipulative, egotistical, skew people do.
Yeah.
And there's a word out there that's being used to describe him called narcissist.
Mm-hmm.
But that's more of a psychological thing, and I'm gonna have to go talk to my therapist about that to see if they can.
Same.
He's very narcissistic, and so that just really like those two things really started triggering feelings within me. But the final thing, my third thing that really like said, okay, we're done with our star was when we had a conversation on the telephone. We had two conversations. First conversation was about me telling him that he needs to stay out of the drama, and he wanted to bring up the drama that was going on with me and the other individual, and he kept trying to insert his opinion and telling me how I should feel that I purposely did this and did that, like really insulting me and really trying to tell me who I am or what I do as if he's inside of my body. And I was like, that was triggering me. You can't tell me, you can't tell anyone what they did, how they did, when they did. Like you know what I'm saying? It was triggering, and it was this condescending tone to me, as if I'm dumb, as if I don't have any intelligence that triggered me. So then our second conversation, which was the final conversation that we had, he said something to me. This reaction to me opening up to him and telling him how hurt I was because the episode that y'all did not see, which was the last episode that they taped together as a group, I was not a part of because on our second conversation we had a blow up because I snapped on him because yet again he wanted to bring up the drama that happened outside the rotation room for the second time, and we done had a discussion over it. He would not let it go, and I asked him numerous times in the conversation to let it go, stop, let's move on. He would not let it go, and I told me about after 4 or 5 let it goes. I said, okay, you won't let it go, so now I'm gonna cut your ass out. So then I went off on him. Because now you're not getting it, and then you're lying on me, saying things I didn't say, telling me what I said. So we have a problem. And then he was on the call. He was on the call. And then I was telling him like how
Yes, I
hurt I was
was.
that he moment because he took that moment of him being mad and being passive aggressive and decided that to tell me that Jasper, I don't want you to do the episode because I feel like you were not your best self that day. So I
Oh,
want you to take a break from the show. And I was like, well, Mitchell, oh, I said his name now.
Oh,
Jasper, get out.
Jasper was like, you know
Look,
what?
y'all.
Fuck it.
Get out of this room right now.
Jasper said, fuck it.
Uh, I was like, how can you tell me I was not my best self when you're not your best self because we both was in that argument, that conversation on the phone, and you were way out. You were yourself, but you were yourself to a higher level. So you
Hmm.
gonna tell me I was not my best self? You were definitely not your best self. So
No
don't try to make
accountability.
it at all. So I'm trying to make it an isolated thing as if I was the one just was going off and losing control, and you were just sitting there calm, cool, collected. No, we're not gonna do that.
Yes, you
So at that
demon.
point, and then so at that point I really was pissed at him, and then when I was expressing to him how I felt about him doing it, how I was hurt because I felt like he did it to hurt me, to really to use me as an example to the group as if you come from me, this is what will happen.
I got the
You know,
power.
um
You guys are the minions.
exactly. And so when he said it to me and said that he has the power when we don't, and that that there's no that anything I say the rest does not matter, and his reaction to me expressing my feelings, he was cold. He was, well, I hear what you're saying, but I still stand on what I did, and I'm not gonna, I can't change what I did, and I stand on what I did. And I was like, I'm not telling you you should change what you did, but your response to me should be a little bit more compassion and
Yeah.
saying, I understand that I have
Empathetic.
feelings, and I was not trying to hurt you,
Yes.
but I was upset, and the way I handled things was wrong. He didn't do that, but instead he was as if he gave this cold dismissal. I don't care. It's my show attitude. So that pissed me off, and I was done because when you invalidate my feelings, I'm the type of person I don't open up easily. I'm a Capricorn. We're very guarded by nature. So
Right.
me to open up to someone like that and share that you actually hurt me because
Mhm.
I'll never let anyone see me sweat. So for me to express that to him, thinking that he was a bro, that we was
Uh-huh.
a brotherhood,
Mm-hmm.
him just tell me that my feelings don't matter, that it is what it is. I was like, I'm done. I can't be a part of something where if I'm hurting, I'm especially you that you're hurting me, that you don't care, then I'm good.
And I unfortunately witnessed all of that.
Yes,
And I was trying to guide the conversation to a healthier place,
you
Right.
tried.
even asking this entity, hey, do you know what empathy looks like? Or do you know what Jasper needs right now? And it was emptiness.
And it's dark, dusty, dirty,
Once again,
hollow.
we were trying to
Dark
make,
and dusty.
yeah, we were trying to make sense of this situation and of how he was receiving it. And it wasn't that Jasper was yelling at him or cursing him out, because I wasn't doing that either. And yet he was giving me the same thing that Jasper was experiencing. And there was nothing. When I asked him, what does empathy look like? He started talking about himself.
Hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
how I'm not going to change my behavior. And that's what I saw. Like, because there's some relationships that you do not need to salvage.
100%.
There are
Some of
some
them just have to go.
situations where you are, and I love what Isaiah said, I am no longer having convincing conversations.
Yep.
And there's some conversations where you don't need to have anymore to convince the person or debate with the person that this is wrong.
Because
I
why
don't
do I need to convince you of the obvious? Is the whole take.
preach.
Why?
If it's
Why?
snowing outside and it's all white, and you're trying to tell me, oh, and then it's raining. Like, we're not going to discuss the obvious and have a debate. Or you're going to tell me, oh, my perspective matters about the weather. No, it's
No, it
snowing.
don't.
And Jasper was sitting there advocating for himself and saying, no, this is what it was. And he, again, was trying to play the victim role. And, I do not try to make sense of people playing the victim. If my job is to, notice what's happening. And when someone is doing that, I'm disconnecting, I'm disengaging.
Mm-hmm.
And we chose, and I love the fact that Jasper in that conversation, he held back a lot. And it said a lot about him. And Jasper would have been justified to curse him out. And Jasper didn't. Because when you know that you have power and that your words are powerful, you choose when to use them as a sword, as a chisel, or a sledgehammer.
Mm-hmm.
And Jasper understands the power of his words. And Jasper said nothing and said, I want nothing to do with this.
Yeah.
He wrapped it up real good and real cute.
Real
Cute and mute.
cute and me. Yup, cute and mute.
And that's what you do. And sometimes I think people are very empathetic, and all three of us are empathetic people.
Absolutely.
And we try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and we try to, convince people. We don't have to do that in relationships. We don't have to do that in interactions with people in the world. There's too many of us out here who are already aligned and are on the same wavelength and are on the same page for us to worry about those who haven't awoken yet and who don't want to partake in that. Like, this individual does not want to partake in that today. And I think maybe I hope that when he matures and gets older, he wants to be a part of that. But that's not where he is today. This is where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I need around me. This individual, and I compromise a lot to try to educate. Like, this is an individual who presented as a Candace Owen supporter.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's already a problem for me.
And that's a problem for me, period. Because every time, even saying that name almost made me gag.
I know. I swallow a little bit of sickness.
And I, once again, tried to be the bigger person and said, no, Theo, you cannot be an elitist, because maybe this child, because that's what he behaved like, needs representation. He probably in his life, he did not have positive male queer representation.
Yeah.
Maybe you can play that role. But the reality is that this man he's not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not interested in brotherhood. He just says brotherhood because it's popular to say, and that's where we are right. It's politically correct to say. Real good and real cute.
Real
Cute and mute.
cute and mute. Yup, cute and mute.
And that's what you do. And sometimes I think people are very empathetic, and all three of us are empathetic people.
Absolutely.
And we try to give people the benefit of the doubt, and we try to, convince people. We don't have to do that in relationships. We don't have to do that in interactions with people in the world. There's too many of us out here who are already aligned and are on the same wavelength and are on the same page for us to worry about those who haven't awoken yet and who don't want to partake in that. Like, this individual does not want to partake in that today. And I think maybe I hope that when he matures and gets older, he wants to be a part of that. But that's not where he is today. This is where I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I need around me. This individual, and I compromise a lot to try to educate. Like, this is an individual who presented as a Candace Owen supporter.
Okay.
Okay.
That's already a problem for me.
And that's a problem for me, period. Because every time, even saying that name almost made me gag.
I know. I swallow a little bit of sickness.
And I, once again, tried to be the bigger person and said, no, Theo, you cannot be an elitist, because maybe this child, because that's what he behaved like, needs representation. He probably in his life, he did not have positive male queer representation.
Yeah.
Maybe you can play that role. But the reality is that this man he's not interested in that.
Mm-hmm.
He's not interested in brotherhood. He just says brotherhood because it's popular to say, and that's where we are right now. It's politically correct to say. He presents nice because it's politically correct to present nice. But who he is at his core, and my experience of him, isn't that. Yeah. And we all share that experience.
Exactly.
And it's a shame. So
it's sad. It's sad the way that it all played out, that in that sense. But then also, it's bittersweet because it's like, wow, we made space for this person, as this person will say, they made space for us as well, right? And like, oh, I made space for it, right? However, even though this is in quotes, you can't see me quoting right now, but your platform and you are the boss, there should be an understanding that we also made each of our own individual contributions to the success or failure or failure.
Well, that's a humble person, Isiah. This person has never shown us to have humility, because in order for you to believe in God, in Allah or Jehovah, you have to come to the feet of that entity and be humble. You can come to the foot of the Lord and be egotistical, and are you gonna tell Jesus to kiss your feet? You're gonna tell Jesus that this is my house?
This is my house.
He's gonna strike you down. You have to be humble. Even to be a religious person, there's a sense of humility. To be a man of God or a woman of God, to have that kind of relationship, you have to be humble. And this poor child has zero humility.
Zero. And, that's the thing. It's like, you can't always, I don't want to be totally insulting, but we gonna mention it all. Mention it all. You can't teach stupid sometimes, okay? Like, sometimes it just is what it is. If they don't know now, then they're not going to know. You know what I mean? Sometimes it just ain't it.
Yeah. And sometimes you can help an Uncle Tom and you can help a coon.
Okay, and that's another thing. Let's be just keep it real. I am not down with the coonery and buffoonery. period.
Not me.
Like,
Never.
never, not today, not tomorrow, not next year, never.
And my experience of him was very Cooner. Coon, party of
Very,
one.
like, very. And that was and I hadn't mentioned that earlier either. Like, that was a huge trigger for me. I think we were, like, maybe we were in between recordings or something like that. And he had posted something about Candace Owens, and then during Pride Month even talking about how he doesn't celebrate Pride. I don't have time. I'm not making space for people that are anti themselves.
All right, check, please. I gotta go.
Okay. Right. Like, check.
Where is the check?
Like, can we? Right. Like, I'm not occupying a space where you are self-deprecating and self-hating, because that's exactly what that energy, that's what that is.
And he's shown us time and time again that he was self-hating and self-deprecating, and that he was like, he presented to us that he had a problem with his blackness, even with the fact that he would say, "Oh, I'm black, but I'm from Germany." That means nothing.
Nothing.
Because, and mind you, he was not really black and from Germany. He was not born in Germany.
Bingo.
He did not go to the school system and participated in that system in Germany. Because if you are black, raised in a different country, you are going to that school system, you are partaking in the culture. He was black from Germany, being educated and living in a army base.
Right, which is all little pockets of, I mean, just coming from a military family myself, it's all little pockets of westernization.
Hello. But in his mind, he didn't understand that. He just understood and said that in a way like it made him different from blackness. And I, on the other hand, I was raised in Panama. I went to school in Panama. I interacted with my Panamanian family. I have family there. I partook in the culture, and I understood that I was black. And I will always be black, even though our culture is Latino, and we did a lot of Latin things. So once again, our oppressors. But I always knew that the core of me, and wherever I exist, I am black. That's why I put Afro or Black Latino in everything that I do. And he didn't understand that. He said that I'm black, but I'm black from Germany. What does that mean?
That, and to me, that, and again, and you know what else negates that theory? Straight up, this last summer, when not just people in America were standing up and saying Black Lives Matter 2, by the way, in case anybody still doesn't understand that sentiment, but that's all I'm gonna say about that. But when the entire US, at different pockets of the US, were standing up and going Black Lives Matter and marching, right? There is the understanding, I hope, that the whole world was pretty much standing up and saying Black Lives Matter. They were doing that in Germany as well. So what do you mean you are black from Germany, my dude? That it's not this that doesn't mean anything. There is racism everywhere.
Anti-blackness exists wherever there is a black body.
Bingo.
In Yemen, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia, in South America, wherever. And he didn't understand it, and we tried to model that. And obviously, I cannot force you to allow things to penetrate your psyche, your heart, and your spirit. You have to be willing and open, and that's what we were trying to make sense of. And we realized that it was unnecessary and undoable. We're having some technical difficulties with Jasper. I think that's a good sign of us to wrap it up.
Yeah, hold on. Let's get him back in. Will it let you send like a little, or he can click on the same link?
I think he can just click on the same link where we're doing our podcast from.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna send it to him and see if he can get back in with us.
And I hope that everyone is will enjoy this. This is actually really fun. It's cathartic also.
It really
Just
is cathartic.
let it go and let it be, because we will not be talking about Aubrey. Oh,
Yeah.
look at that.
Oh, look at you rhyming.
Here you go. I say won't let him in. So let's end it here.
Okay.
Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulty, and this is just our first episode, so we're still learning, and hopefully the editing process goes well. So
I think it will. I think it'll go great. So I guess thank you guys for joining us. If you guys, again, if you have any questions about the previous platform, just try to refer to this episode. Obviously, you can ask us any questions that you'd like, and we will freely and openly answer them. But I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited for this next episode. I'm excited to be alongside Jasper and Theo, as I said earlier. And
ditto.
this is our safe space.
Yep.
And we hope you can make it your safe space too.
Nice. And in order for us to move forward, we will sometimes have to look back. But this is the one and only time that we will be looking back.
Absolutely.
And we'll be going forward. We want to make this a safe space for you to make sense of whatever your it is.
Absolutely.
Make sense of life, make sense of sexuality, make sense of religion, make sense of love, make sense of whatever your it is.
All
And
those things.
and just move forward with love, positivity, and empathy.
Absolutely.
And of course, we're gonna be a little petty.
A little bit. Because why not?
Why not? Because we're multi-layered individuals. So
absolutely.
Until next time, folks. Until next time.
A little bit of everything. We're a little bit of everything.
Later.
Later.